Mark, I understand the logistics of travel schedules, but is it frustrating for you that there hasn't been more clarity or communication about where things stand?
I think it's not ideal, but this isn't, a lot of things aren't in this situation aren't ideal. And that's, timing of these things, again, that's, it's partly on me, that we're in this situation. But it's not ideal, less than ideal.
Have you had a chance during this, with all this, to evaluate your assistants? And you mentioned none have said they're going to retire, but would you anticipate wanting to bring your staff back, or would you foresee staff changes if you return?
I don't foresee staff changes. I think, I think again, there's issues that everybody knows that I think the guys that are in this building and in our program are the best to solve those issues. Yeah.
Mark, since this is a season review, I was just curious, do you expect Crosby to rejoin these freshmen on the offensive line next year? And also, can you identify some freshmen that maybe redshirted that can help fill some holes?
So the first part, I think it would be absolutely in his best interest to come back for sure. I think he's a guy that can get in better shape physically, from a confidence standpoint, taking that weight room stuff and all the other stuff he'll do in the off season to another year of football will help him in the long run. It obviously would help those young guys as well. And then the second, the first person that popped to my mind right when you said that was Brady Breeze, a guy that made a ton of plays all the time in kind of we do a Friday scrimmage every week with our young guys, and he stood out every week.
You mentioned you were able to text some of your players in the past 24 hours. Obviously, you're going to a banquet right now where your players will be there. Is there a message, or is this something you're going to address with them? The fact that you still don't know or what's to come?
I don't know. Kind of play the room maybe at that point, but I think this is about honoring this season and the seniors and the outgoing players, and a lot more about them than this situation.
Mark, two questions. Can you give any clarity as to, you've said that Farrell Brown has been unavailable these last two games. Can you give any clarity as
Injury.
Okay.
Injury. Season's over. Injury.
And several of the players said last night that they stand behind you 110%. What does that mean to you going into, the offseason and everything that's swirling around you in the program right now?
Well, obviously those are the most important guys, that we have, and certainly need to augment and supplement those guys with recruiting and finishing that out going forward. But I have a lot of belief in those guys, and I think that's reciprocated.
You said supplementing with recruiting. What would be the areas that you think you need to really target and address this class?
I think, knock on wood, we're in good shape at probably the biggest areas of need, defensive line and defensive back. I think our young linebackers the last 2 years are really exciting in terms of their development. Need to continue to get a couple more skill guys, which I think there's a few guys in the hopper. There's a couple guys that are kind of both, athlete type category guys that play DB and either receiver or tailback, and obviously needed to finish out a couple other positions offensively.